Kosher Terroir. I'm Simon Jacob, your host for this episode from Jerusalem. Before we get started, I ask that wherever you are, please take a moment and pray for the safety of our soldiers and the safe return of all of our hostages. The following is a conversation with my friend Ari Pollock. Ari is a partner with Tomer Panini in the Tom Winery, located up in the Shomron, next to the town of Itamar. Tom is a small boutique winery that focuses on quality, doing almost everything in the winery by hand. My plan was to have both Ari and Tomer speak about the winery and their current vintage, but as we are recording this episode, Tomer, an officer in the IDF, is in the midst of battle in Gaza. I look forward to his safe return home and to us recording a subsequent podcast together in the future. If you're in the midst of your commute, focus on the road, please. If you're relaxing at home, pour yourself a delicious glass of kosher Israeli wine, sit back and enjoy. Ari, welcome to the Kosher Terroir. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Pleasure to be here, Simon.
I know that you work with Tomer. I don't know, is there an official role that you have? Or are you partner with Tomer in the Tom Winery?
Official role? I'm a partner with him, a spiritual partner, a partner in the whole process, from when we planted until now. I'm a partner in the mission, and I wouldn't even call with him.
I wouldn't even call you a partner. You're more a brother in the mission.
Yeah,
because you're there all the time. Not every moment, but you're there all the time. And I know he views you as a brother. So partner is actually belittling the relationship.
Yeah,
I think it's much more family than it is partner.
So my official role, basically, Tomer he's on the farm with his wife, 10 kids, hundreds of sheep, and the vineyards. He's not looking to do a show for anybody. He's
right.
not looking to show off. He's not looking to market himself, and he's not looking for branding or things like that. He's connecting to the land, connecting to the earth, doing what he thinks is the right thing to do, and but if nobody knows about you, then it's not a sustainable system, right? So Tomer's there being real and connecting to the land, and I'd like everybody to know about this special magical place, and so I try to connect him to the outside world without ruining him, right? Because
right. The first time I met him, he is the absolute image of a halutz from the 40s, from 1940, not 2040, but 1940. He's like unbelievable in that. He and his wife and all the kids are just an incredible family and an incredible force.
Yeah.
If you ever have doubts about Eretz Yisrael, you need to spend an afternoon with that family, and you will be so pumped. It's just an incredible experience to be with them.
Yeah. So for a while there was, when I first started getting into the wine business and connections, so people wanted to do wine tasting, and I said, I refuse. I don't want you to taste the wine. I want you to come visit first. You can't really taste the wine without connecting and seeing where it was made, and there was this one wine writer where I was pushing off for a while, and he ended up coming, and he's like, "You're so right. It would have been such an injustice to drink this wine without,
knowing what was behind it."
Yeah, it's like drinking wine from a plastic cup, right?
Right.
You don't want, tzarich lechabed. You need to honor it by saying so. Yeah, if any of our listeners are ever in the Holy Land, please come, please see. I mean,
please reach out. We're gonna leave numbers, but you could even reach out to me about that, because I'll make sure you're connected. Because I absolutely love Tom Winery and the Tomer Panini's family, and Ari. Very, very special. So we're actually, instead of being really quiet about it, we're going to taste some wine from Tom. Now this is the Cab.
Yeah, this is. I just made a bracha and had a little sip, sneak peek beforehand, just to make sure that it's
okay.
This is great. So it's amazing. I love tasting these kind of things, because I don't drink it so often, and we have limited supply. There's 2016, so maybe once a year, and every time it's like a different ball game. It's revisiting, and it's new, and it's old, and it's I think 2016 was our first year that we actually had electricity that we were using for the wine crush. Beforehand, I was doing it, winding it by hand, and so it was a big move forward. It was very hard to do it by hand, that amount, and we saw a lot of bracha from 2016, like real bracha. It was the year after Shemitah.
So this is a Cabernet Sauvignon from 2016, and it's from the Shomron.
Keram-Mayrav.
Yeah, it's Keram-Mayrav. Which tell us a little bit about why the name Keram-Mayrav. I know.
So Keram-Mayrav. Amen. Me and my wife. We were good friends with Tomer and Meital, and we were together with them in the Golan Heights. We were neighbors. We worked together, and Tomer went after his dream of starting a farm. Went to plan, and he said, Yehuda Aryeh, or Ari, Yehuda Aryeh as they call me in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You came from America. Maybe you have somebody that can give me a loan to start a vineyard to make wine. I want to start this farm. And I was like 21, or it's 20. Just after I got married, a year after I got married, I said, Tomer, we can do this on our own. I have some money from my wedding left over. I asked my wife, and she said, yeah, it's, that's for building the land of Israel. What else are we going to use our money for? Right?
What it's
thinking like I was like making, $1,000 a month, $1,200 a month back then. And so every little bit but we were fine. Like, we were happy. We didn't feel like we were missing anything. So we gave some money to start. Tomer also took from his wedding money, and somehow we started he started this vineyard. 15 dunams of Cabernet Sauvignon, which is what we're drinking right now. Cabernet Franc, Shiraz, and Merlot. Mostly Cabernet Sauvignon. Basically in the same vineyard. You've been there, you've seen the different colors of the leaves. Slightly different colors, but you can see it when they're together. 3 years after that, my wife tragically she went on a hike, and she fell on a morning walk and was killed. A lot of times it's like a shame when you thinking back on things like making a memorial about somebody, So I was thinking, we started this vineyard together, and it's something that's growing all the time, and new life, and every year you see it sprouting from new and growing. And I called Tomer and I was like, you know what? Don't pay me back. Just take the money. Let's call it Keram-Mayrav. And he was like, I was thinking the same thing. Like, let's call it Keram-Mayrav. And so, yeah, that's Keram-Mayrav. Mayrav helped start it, and now it's in her memory.
Wow.
Since then, I started getting much more involved. I started helping fund more. Baruch Hashem, now it's more standing on its own. But in the beginning, it takes a couple of years until, right, a vineyard becomes profitable, or you see any profit from it. It's about after 6 years you start seeing some revenue.
So you were the one who introduced me to Tomer. You're the one who pulled me into it. Excuse me. You're the one who pulled me into it. And the truth is that I couldn't be happier. I mean, I have never experienced anything as special and as meaningful and as deeply as our interactions at the winery and with Tomer's family and with yourself. I was crawling around the year you introduced me to him on my hands and knees helping to plant a vineyard. I've harvested a number of times, been at harvest a number of times, which is pretty physical, but it was incredible to get up at way before dawn and to be up there before the sun rises and to be picking grapes and then have the sun come up. And I always have the same feeling. It's so incredibly meaningful to be working the land. It's just awesome. It's just an awesome experience. It's an awesome experience.
Yep. Yeah, so that's exactly it. I was thinking coming on a podcast about wine. I'm not one to talk about the different flavors and tannins and things, but so our connection starts from the plant.
Mm-hmm.
Planting it and feeling the earth and the thorns and the wind and all the forces that are against us and the forces that are with us and everything that makes the terroir around us that's the first point. So and the wine that we're tasting, I don't want to
no,
I don't want to say about my own wine, but I really enjoy it. I think it's amazing, and I'm drinking it, and it's brings you back to the land of Israel and what we've been through and where we're going, and it's just tasting it and then in one glass of wine, which is amazing, So that's why I want to drink wine slowly. I don't need to have a lot of bottles. I just need to, sit down, have a nice glass with people that I enjoy to be with. Take my time to smell, to enjoy, to look, to appreciate, to taste. And to appreciate everything that's gone into it, because we're not using big fancy machinery or anything like that, right? Everything is being done by hand by us.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I carried a number of the crates and poured it into into the crusher.
Yeah.
And then took the buckets over and filled up the vat.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. It's funny. I think people would ask, okay, so where's Tomer? I mean, we've got you, Ari, and myself here, And
Imposter.
and Tomer's preoccupied. Where is he preoccupied? He's sitting at home drinking wine. No, unfortunately.
Where all the good people are nowadays.
Right.
Right?
Well, unfortunately, he couldn't even be on via the phone because he's in the middle of Gaza at the moment.
Right, he's got no fun with him.
He's got no phone and no wine, and he's in the middle of Gaza. And to get a sense of the trials that he goes through, is that as he's in the middle of Gaza fighting, and his eldest son is also in the tzava, his wife is home minding the farm, the vineyard, and the sheep and everything, and they're in the middle of the Shomron, and they're undergoing attacks all the time as well. So we were actually talking about who they have for guard duty each of the nights this week, and they're going to be doing. They have people who are lined up to come in and help provide guard duty on the farm, while Tomer is down in Gaza fighting for the country.
Yeah.
So it's really. I know for many people outside of Israel, it's becoming tiresome to watch their social media feeds. It's becoming tiresome, having to worry about what's going on every day. I kind of feel like, wake up.
Yeah.
The people here are living this every single day.
We're not tired.
And
we'll do it to the end of the days,
Right. And it's like, come on, understand what's going on with this. This isn't some sort of a game. This is life, and it's very serious life. So when you're getting wine from a winery like Tom, that's taking in the entire terroir around it, which is one of the most beautiful places you've ever seen, looking out over the Jordan River Valley, high in the mountains. It's just incredible, an incredible place. So being there, I know exactly what Tomer is fighting for.
Yeah.
I mean, 100% what he's fighting for.
I'm happy you're transitioning us into the place, because as I was coming over here, it's like, you know what, I can't speak about the winery without first going to the farm. I need to breathe it in first.
Yeah.
I need to get into I'm coming from work now, I'm in a different zone. And so thank you, Simon, for bringing me here to get into the zone. I don't want to be the one to say.
You don't want to be the one to say what? That this wine is so incredibly delicious.
Yeah.
It's just crazy delicious. It's really good. Really, really good.
Say, Ena nachtom me'id al isato, right? There's got to be a saying in English. The baker doesn't talk about his dough.
His dough, right.
But this is... Thank you for opening this. I don't open this, on just any day.
This is just wonderful.
It should be for la'atzlachat all the chayalim.
Yes, and the return of all the hostages.
Return of all the hostages.
Please God, and the safety of all the chayalim.
Yeah, and destruction of our enemies.
So, did you have any dreams of getting into making wine?
When I was younger?
Yeah.
I didn't really grow up drinking wine. I grew up in New York. I went to Haftar High School. We used to go to a lot of parties when I was in high school, but I never really drank. I always made believe I was drinking because I was always the one driving.
Yeah.
And, I was a troublemaker, but a pretty good kid. I only got into drinking wine when I was living in the Golan with Tomer, and together with us was living a community from Gush Katif, from Netzer Chazani. They moved to Avnei Tan, to the Golan. It was right after the Girush in 2005. They moved to the Golan same time that we both moved there. And we were together. So every Shabbat after Vatikan, we used to sit together around, read Rashi around the table, and they wouldn't have it any other way. I had to drink. They kept pouring and forcing me to drink. Okay. Har Charmon. I'm forever grateful to that wine, even though excellent wine for the price, in my opinion. Right. Right? It's a very cheap wine. Amcha. And there was a gateway drug. Yeah.
We call it inexpensive.
Yeah, inexpensive.
Yeah, inexpensive. But it is a gateway for people to start enjoying wine and move up into it.
Right. I mean, the wine wasn't the focus there.
Right.
Focus, it was the people, the Torah. It was the experience, and it was also a time, looking back in retrospect, like, why did they take those people out of there? Right?
Out of Gush Katif.
What's going on? Why?
What's crazy is recently, one of the older guys who comes to shul, his grandson took a picture in Gush Katif with a big Gush Katif flag, because he was born there.
Wow.
He was born there, and then that year they pulled them all out.
Right.
So he's a young guy, but he's just exactly army age, and he's back in Gush Katif.
Wow.
It's like unbelievable.
Where they said, we'll never go. We're never gonna have to have another soldier there.
Right.
So my wife, my blessed memory, was living in Gush Katif for a couple of months before the expulsion, together with my brother's family in the same house, and there were 4 families. My brother's family was in the living room in a tent. They lived in Idvid Kalim for 2 months like that. That's how we got to know each other. And by my wedding was a couple of months afterwards, at the beginning of 2006. And when we said Im Eshkachech Yerushalayim, we have a tradition of putting ashes on your forehead where you put your tefillin on. And so I had ashes mixed with sand from the Beit Knesset in Anvit Kalim that I put under my head when we said Im Eshkachech Yerushalayim. And so may we know of no more destruction. I think we've had enough of ashes. We've had enough destruction. We've had enough pain, and we should only hear of good things.
Please God.
And only planting and no uprooting, and only drinking and happiness, and no misery.
Please God.
Please God. Please God. So one of the things I don't want to come across in this podcast, and Tomer would beat me if it did sound like that, is that we don't come across as a place where we're miskin, where what's the word in English? It's we feel like we're the luckiest people in the world,
Right, 100%.
Every time I step on the land, we have some of the people coming to pick the grapes. They're walking barefoot on the thorns. They're coming, these teenage girls. I was like,
they're unbelievable.
This is amazing. These people are really, they don't even feel the thorns. They're so connected to the ground. Like, I'm the luckiest person in the world, planting and drinking wine and enjoying. living me where my ancestors lived, being able to, to take in the art and to take in the people and to take in the spirituality.
I remember at the planting when we were at a planting, and recently, and all of a sudden, all of these young people just started walking up the road towards us, and just it was crazy. And then I realized they were walking barefoot, and all of these kids came, teenagers came to help plant. And they were just, all over the place. It was unbelievable.
We're all complaining if you get a thorn in my finger or whatever, right?
And these guys are just walking in and they're doing whatever they need to do. Yeah, Tomer doesn't serve in Gaza from a feeling of being put upon or being stuck with this or what have you.
No,
it's totally a privilege, and it's totally a responsibility that he is happy to take on his shoulders.
Yeah,
as is everything.
Jewish warrior. I mean,
right there.
It's not always easy, right? Because after a whole day, even not during wartime,
right.
After a whole day of herding the sheep and taking care of the wine and going from thing to thing, and then getting up at 2:00 in the morning for guard duty so that the Arab towns around don't try to come and steal the sheep, or even worse than that.
Right. His vineyard and farm is a truly magical place. I remember one of the first times I came, we were down by the peonies field. And there were a couple of interesting things that Tomer told me. One was that when they planted the peonies, before they planted them, they just started watering. They, put in a watering system to get the soil ready and what have you. And when they started to water, out of the ground came like all sorts of stuff, grapes and all the grains just came out of the ground like they'd been sitting there. This is totally barren. All of a sudden, out of the ground came all of these incredible things that were just waiting for a farmer to come and water the ground and to be ready for it. And it just incredible.
It's like the land saying, I'm waiting
here
for you. I've been waiting. You've come back. It's like talking out to you.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely was talking, if not yelling.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy. The other thing is I remember being there, and all of a sudden in the distance I saw this cloud of smoke. I didn't know what it was, but it was coming closer. And then I heard this beautiful, angelic voices singing. And I'm going, what is that? And then as they came closer and closer, I realized it was the sheep coming in, and it was Tomer's nieces from his sister's farm, which is just down the valley a little bit from them, herding the sheep back, and they were all dressed in like gowns that were like from the time of Avram Avinu, and they're singing Tehillim, and they're guiding these sheep up, and it was like biblical.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It's a feeling like we're back.
Yeah.
I'm here. This is it. This is what we've been dreaming about.
I felt like I stepped out of a time machine, and it's like, wow, it's an incredible experience. So it's a beautiful place. I strongly suggest a visit. I strongly suggest going there to see what it's like. And he to have a barbecue with fresh lamb, it's like, and good wine, it's like crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. It's
Simon,
delicious.
what do you think about this wine over here? I mean, this is 2016.
I think my glass needs more.
Yeah, it's the tannins are still strong,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, no, it's... Thank you. The color is deep. It's a deep, rich color with not even a hint of bricking on the edges.
Tastes young.
What?
Well, tastes pretty young.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It's progressively getting better and better as we let it air because we opened it just before we started the podcast.
Wow.
Wow is right. Wow.
I wish everybody was here to taste this.
I know.
Like, I feel bad drinking all of this. It's so good. Everybody needs to try this.
Wow.
So 2016, we actually was our first time sending wine to a wine competition. Coming out a little bit of the shadow of secrecy. We're like, you know what? Let's send the bottle to a competition. We didn't know how it works. We don't know how many bottles different wineries send. We sent one bottle because it costs a couple of thousand shekel, or 1,000 something shekel, and a couple of bottles. And so we don't have a lot of bottles, right? We had one barrel of Cabernet Franc. So you know what? Let's send a bottle of Cabernet Franc, a couple of bottles. For tasting, there's 30 judges that do blind tasting, and we sent one bottle. It's 400 something bottles there at the competition, and we got one of the top prizes there, the second to highest score of all the bottles. We got the best. Because of the bottle, we got double gold, and we got the best boutique winery, even though it's usually for wineries that make a little bit more than us. Right. And it was like, that was a complete surprise. We thought we didn't win anything because they only announced these prizes at the end of the competition. And that was basically a stamp of something we knew already, that we have something very special. One barrel, right? Just one bottle we sent over, and we didn't, send over a couple of options over and hope for the best. So that was really amazing, and yeah, thank God we've had success since then. We've had some nice bottles coming out. This is one of them, yeah.
Where do you find this for somebody who's an enthusiast who's interested in tasting it? Where do they? I don't know. The 16, I don't think you can find anywhere.
No.
Besides here in my house, I still have some bottles. But that said, if you're looking for wine from Tom, where in Israel can you go to?
So in Israel, you have to reach out directly to us.
Okay.
We have some wine in Yerushalayim by Tomer's father-in-law you can pick up. It's a very small operation. My friends make fun of me like that. I don't even want to sell it. I want to keep it all for myself.
Well, guess why? It's delicious. Next.
Yeah. Yeah, but we want to support the farm, right?
I know.
And also we have about half of the wine is exported over to New York to Lakewood, the cellar.
To the cellar. Ben Weber's and Ari Luxbyer's store called The Cellar, and they market it under the name Ma'ayan.
But it's written also Keram-Mayrav on it, and Tom Winery, made by Tom Winery.
Yeah.
So you can get it by them. I think they deliver in the States.
Yeah.
And he's got some older bottles as well. Ben is a perfectionist, and he likes to keep them in his cellar before selling them off. So he's got some older bottles, not 2016, but I think 17, 18. Here in Israel, we only have 2021 for sale, which is our latest, which is just starting to come out because everything gets sold out very quickly. 2022, we didn't make wine, right?
Because of Shemitah.
Shemitah.
So I have some actual 2019s that I can get my hands on because I made a bottle called Rabbeinu Tom. I always like to play with the names, and it's also crazy delicious. It's a blend. It's a blend of Cab Franc, I think, and it's. I'm sorry.
It's got some
Cab
Merlot
and a Shiraz, and it's really, really delicious. I couldn't be happier with it.
Yeah, we sat here in your house blending together. I remember we brought a little sample of each barrel, and
and we also did it. We did it in a couple of different places, but we did, and it came out spectacular.
Amazing.
So it was really nice. It's one of my crazy adventures that just was wonderful. Just worked out great.
So it's Tom. Tom is the name of the winery, right?
Yep.
It's, our bottles are very simple and clean. We don't, write that the wine has the taste of earth and minerals and different things like that. We don't write anything about what we taste in the wine. But we have the pasuk of from Tehillim. It says, Tom v'yosher yitzeruni ki kiviticha. Right? Tom is, you can say it's something simple, but it's not only simple. Tom even also means complete and whole, and pure. And
I was going to say pure.
Yeah. So it's a pasuk that we connect to a lot. Tom, v'yosher, and integrity. These are my traits because I'm looking kiki v'ticha because my eyes are towards you, Hashem. And that's something we feel very close to in our lifestyle, in our wine.
I want to ask you about one other thing. The people who listen to this podcast have two basic dreams, many of them. One is to make aliyah, and the other one is to do something in wine. And it's kind of funny because each of the people I bring in has kind of accomplished both of those. Mm-hmm. What was your motivation to make aliyah? Is this something that was in your mind all along, or?
What is this? All along is I made aliyah right when I finished high school. I mean, everybody in school knew that I was talking a lot about moving to Israel. They thought I was full of baloney. I was a big talker. I used to tell the teachers also they should be real. And if it says in the Torah all about Eretz Yisrael and we have the chance to do it, why are you not doing it? I don't know if it was a little bit of chutzpah, which is definitely what they thought.
Yeah.
So the week after I finished high school, I was out. I was on a plane to Eretz Yisrael.
So what happened when you arrived here?
First, I had a brother that was living here, Kiryat Arba.
Yeah.
Then I went to study in a pre-army yeshiva up north in the Golan. I was very connected to the land of Israel even before I came, just from visiting here and seeing the people and going to these different places that we're now making wine on. To Itamar, I came before I made Aliyah. And I was jealous. I was jealous of these people that are not only looking out for themselves. They're not following the path of going to school, maybe learning in yeshiva for a year, coming back, go to college, be a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever. Which are all super important things, right? I wish I could do all that, except for the part of going back to America. Right? Everybody needs to realize their full potential. And I think the full potential of the Jewish people can only be seen in the land of Israel. And I didn't want somebody else to basically write down the path of where my life is going, because that's what everybody around me was doing. I was looking for a life, a meaningful life. And even through my heart, after my wife passed away, I was left.
Life was tough.
Raising 3 kids on my own, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. My parents weren't living near me. And people were saying, my parents, my family were saying, just come, it's reality. You have a house by us. You have connections, right? I basically came to Israel and I started everything over again. I wasn't relying on anybody else. I was building myself on my own. And then I found myself by myself without my partner in life. Come back. We have a car that's in the garage nobody's using. We have a house that's empty. I can get you a job. Can help you out.
But it means leaving Haaretz.
It means leaving Israel. And so when is your ideology really tested, if not when things are hard, right? So you only do things that you believe in when it's easy. So these are some thoughts that were going through my head also. But actually I couldn't imagine myself leaving, even though escaping the chaos that I was in seemed like an easy and natural escape.
Very enticing.
Very enticing, yeah. But my kids my kids grew up with me speaking Hebrew in the house, even though I didn't grow up speaking Hebrew at all. I failed most of my Hebrew tests in high school. Thank God I have somebody smart sitting next to me in the Hebrew region. Wow. Or else I wouldn't have passed. But my kids didn't grow up hearing English at all. But they, thank God, now we went to visit my family and they speak English well. But if they speak to somebody in America or in Europe, they say, "You have an accent. Where are you from?" And they say, "I'm from the land of Israel." Right?
Right.
Which is amazing. That's their accent. Their accent is from the land of Israel, and that's my kid. Like, success right there. If
so
not
happy?
Anything else, I'm happy. My kids are back. My kids are back. Doesn't matter where they go in the world. They have that ingrained in them.
They're Israelis.
They're Israelis.
Yep. Yehudim.
Yeah. Judeans. They live in Judea. We live in the Judean, on the edge of the Judean desert, near Beit Lechem. I live in Tekoa, where King David grew up playing around with his sheep. And so I think I'm living the dream. I am living.
I think you're living the dream too.
I'm living my own dream, It would have been nicer if I had a
partner.
a pretty wife next to me that was a partner in this journey. But
That's the way
all
it is.
in all, it's pretty. You live life with the cards you're dealt with, and you make. I think I've done the best with it. I think life is pretty amazing. So thank God, l'chaim.
L'chaim tovim u'shalom.
L'chaim.
Taste this again. It's only getting better.
Yeah.
It's getting some air, and it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Awesome wine. Question for you. For Tom Winery, is there anything, we've mentioned a couple of things, but is there anything that you can think of that listeners could do to help meet Tom's goals?
So what are Tom's goals? Right? It's first and foremost to connect people to the land.
Yep. So come and celebrate a simcha here.
Yeah, celebrate. Come over.
We had a bar mitzvah there for my eldest grandson. We came up. It was a long ride getting up there. We made it, and we had a barbecue. Was that your first
time up?
That was not the first time. It was one of my first times, but it wasn't my first. And but it was the first for my mechutan from Sacramento, and they're saying, like, what are you doing? Where are we going? And when they got there, they said, how did you find such an incredibly special place? It was just like breathtaking. The whole family being up there, and we had an incredible barbecue with wonderful wines, and it was just a bunch of us, all kids, grandkids, and just great. So it was
I remember
like a lot
coming
of fun.
also later, and I saw everybody it was so emotional. I saw your son's crying, and you cry. It was so emotional over there, right?
It was an incredible experience to be there. So if you ever have an opportunity, I know people have gone there for bar mitzvahs recently. People go up there. If you ever were looking for a place to do a special event, this is down to earth. This is emotionally spectacular.
Yeah.
Unbelievable view, unbelievable food, unbelievable wine. But you might be sitting in the grass.
Right, that's what I was about to say.
This isn't a place to go.
Just your expectations.
Yeah.
There's no fancy visitor center, and there's no 3D light show or anything like that. It's a farm. It's connecting.
You can hear the cows. You can hear you can hear the sheep. You can hear everything going at the same time.
Sometimes even smell them.
Yes, that's true. That's true. It depends on which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
But that said, you can't come away from there without being uplifted. You just can't.
Yeah.
They're incredible people, and they let you bask in their light while you're there, and it's an incredible experience. Very, very special. So, please God, if you ever get an opportunity, also through the cellar, people in America can get Mayan
wine.
The wine from Tom, which is really delicious. He only carries things that are really exceptionally delicious.
Yeah.
Ben has a knack for picking those things. So
and going
it's very
himself
special.
to each place and picking out.
Yeah. It's
very hands-on.
Yeah, and perfectionist in what he does.
First of all, the best way, like I said, like I tell journalists and wine writers, is to come visit and drink with us and take home and take the experience with you. And it's contagious, right? I feel you ran out of wine, Dr. Simon.
I didn't run out, but thank you. Great.
So what else can people do? they can come and order wine, right?
You have a website?
We have a website, tomwinery.com.
Okay, I'm going to add it to the...
We have a Facebook, Tom Winery Keram-Mayrav.
Okay.
We have an Instagram. If you message us, you'll get an automatic message back that we're usually busy in the fields herding sheep and things like that, but we'll get back to you in due time.
And I can tell you that's true.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
So we're not, it could be, don't expect quick responses or overnight delivery or things like that.
Yeah, they're too busy delivering sheep and taking care of everything that's going on there. So, yeah,
Right.
That's cool. Terroir, the kosher terroir is, people give me a lot of grief about using the word kosher terroir. The Israeli terroir or this terroir, that's where it's, terroir actually is what imparts all of the flavors that are coming out of this wine.
Yep.
And as you're drinking it, it's really exceptional. It's really beautiful. It's delicious. As we're drinking it, I can't help but see all of the surroundings around. It comes from all of the vegetation that is around you and all of the minerals that are in the earth, and it's all there as you drink this. So you're drinking like this imprint from that specific place on the mountain, and it's incredible. So as I'm drinking it, I'm just thinking back to being there.
Yeah.
And missing it terribly, but thinking that what a great way to remember that experience. Incredible way to remember the experience. Ari, thank you very, very much for being on the Kosher Terroir, allowing me to taste this again and to relive some of the dream. Thank you. It's great.
Thank
Really.
you for Simon.
Okay.
Thank you, Simon, for having me, and thank you for opening this bottle. It's a real treat. As always, coming to you is some nice treats.
L'chaim tovim
L'chaim,
shalom. And
l'chaim.
please, God, I look forward to speaking to Tomer and
Amen.
and having him back here safe and sound, and having all of the hostages, all of our hostages, freed safely. Please, God.
And all of our Jewish brothers and sisters overseas.
Yes.
Should hopefully see them here. That's another
Yep.
goal of ours. Tomer tells everybody, you should be planting grapes here also. You should be making it. So if anybody ever needs help, we've been helping other smaller wineries and people with questions. And during Shemitah, a lot of people came and picked their own grapes and made their own wine, and we helped them out with that. So, all of our listeners, hopefully, the dream is real. It's happening.
Let me expand on that. If you're in Israel, during any of the times of being able to plant or pick grapes, you have to do this. I mean, it really connects you directly into the land. There isn't an experience that's better. I can't tell you that your hands are not going to get poked with thorns and thistles and stuff. They will, but afterwards you'll be thankful for every one of those little pokes and pains, because it'll remind you that you actually planted in Eretz Yisrael, which is like crazy, incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, son.
Thank you. Take care. Shalom u'bracha. This is Simon Jacob again, your host of today's episode of the Kosher Terroir. I have a personal request. No matter where you are or where you live, please take a moment to pray for our soldiers' safety and the safe and rapid return of our hostages, and whenever possible, buy and share Israeli wine. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Kosher Terroir. It was exciting and informative for me as well. Please subscribe via your podcast provider to be informed of our new episodes as they are released. If you're new to the Kosher Terroir, please check out our many past episodes. The Kosher Terroir is also available on the Nachum Segal Network at 6:30 p.m. New York time, Thursday evening, and on the world-famous NSN app. Again, thank you for listening to the Kosher Terroir.